Charlie Kirk didn't deserve to die just for stating his opinion. Let's be clear, I don't support any sort of violence, especially not gun violence. But let's not minimize the tremendous impact that Charlie Kirk had in creating the division that we see today. For example, on his podcast yesterday, hours before he passed, he said, and I quote, "Black women do not have the brain power to be otherwise taken seriously." Then he went on to defame successful black women such as Michelle Obama, Joy Reid, and Ketanji Brown Jackson, claiming that they are DEI hires. Defamation is words and oftentimes opinions that you can be held civilly liable for in court. If the government can acknowledge that words can kill and words have power, then why can't we? Now, am I saying that Charlie Kirk deserved to die? No, not at all. But let's not minimize the tremendous impact that Charlie Kirk has had in rolling back our rights. He was mobilizing the youth to hate people based on their skin color, their gender, their sexual orientation, and their religion. It's not just opinions.
You shouldn't celebrate someone dying because it's still a life loss. Is it though? Is Charlie Kirk a life loss, or did the devil just call home one of his disciples? I mean, they celebrated when they killed Martin Luther King and he was preaching peace. I think it's okay for people to be rejoicing in a white supremacist dying. I think that's all right. Mind you, he died doing what he loved, protecting gun rights. He said so famously that he believes that deaths are just sacrifices made to keep your Second Amendment, and he is indeed one of those sacrifices. And I'm going to be honest, better him than another innocent child just going to school, or innocent person going to the grocery store, or innocent person going to church, or innocent person just being on the subway, or innocent person literally anywhere dying from gun violence. That man spent the last few years of his life peddling racism, white supremacy, xenophobia, sexism, and all things detrimental to a productive society. He was the embodiment of bigotry, and him dying in this way was very poetic. And I don't feel bad.
Greetings, my beautiful people. I hope you're doing fantastic, and welcome back to my channel. So let's take a closer look at the kind of career Charlie Kirk chose for himself. So Charlie Kirk built his entire platform on being offensive, on making remarks that were not just controversial, but deeply hurtful to communities of color, to immigrants, to Muslims, and anyone who stood against white supremacy. So to his critics, his legacy is not one of his inspiration, but of hate. They describe him as a racist, a white nationalist, anti-Muslim propagandist who thrived on division. And when your career is defined by radical rhetoric, you cannot be surprised when your death sparks radical reactions. Still, let's be clear, and I want to emphasize this. Charlie Kirk should not have died the way he died. You don't defeat ideas through bullets, You defeat ideas through ideas. So let's have a closer look.
The hypocrisy of eulogizing and idolizing Charlie Kirk as a political martyr and political hero is staggering. The depth of gaslighting, untruths, the shameful opportunistic politicization of his assassination is a clear attempt to rewrite his history now. Now, we know exactly who Charlie Kirk was, and there's no way on God's earth we're going to let you tell us what he was not. Charlie Kirk's legacy is a legacy of hate. He was a racist, white nationalist, white supremacist, anti-Muslim, Islamophobic, transphobic, Zionist bigot. And whatever my view of him is, doesn't change the fact that I find his assassination absolutely wrong. Multiple truths can coexist. First off, these hypocrites, his supporters, are manufacturing a crisis of war and using him as their symbol to go fight. Fight what exactly? Let me just say with my full chest that I am glad that it's not a black or immigrant that killed Charlie Kirk, because it is a white person that killed him. You know that, right? If there had been a black or immigrant, that information would have leaked out a long time ago, and this whole apparatus of hate would have been targeted against the people who Charlie Kirk has spent his entire existence targeting. Let not the irony be lost on you that the same Charlie Kirk that pathologized black people as criminals and went on and on about black on black crime is now the face and symbol of white on white crime, which we all know is far worse than black on black crime. These same hypocrites tell us there is no place for political violence. I agree. But Charlie Kirk was politically violent. His language was politically violent. He supported gun violence and opposed gun control. The same person who said it is right for there to be a cost of gun deaths every year so that we can have the right to arms has now become the cost of gun violence he wanted other people to pay the price for. No political violence, you say. When Charlie Kirk endorsed and manufactured consent for Israel's genocide and political violence, crimes against humanity, against Palestinians every single day. These God-forsaken freedom of speech hypocrites are now hunting down people who are exercising their freedom of speech to either celebrate or quite frankly say they don't give a rat's ass that Charlie Kirk is dead. And these hypocrites are like, how dare you? You must lose your job and you must be punished. And I'm like, These hypocrites must be mad to demand that people extend humanity to Charlie Kirk, who never extended an ounce of humanity to people he targeted. So it is freedom of speech when Charlie Kirk said black people were better off during slavery, that black women lack processing skills, are only good at taking white people's slots. When he compared gay to drug addiction, called trans abomination, spewed anti-Muslim and Islamophobic hate, pushed white supremacist agenda against black and brown people, pushed white nationalist agenda against immigrants.
Should black people get reparations?
I believe they should.
So I, white man, have to play for black people. Why?
Wow, that's a really selfish thing you said.
Hold on. Why should I have...
That's a really non-empathetic thing to say.
Wait, why should I have empathy for a race? I have white guilt because I breathe? Why should the white students here have to work harder to pay for black kids? What is that all about?
Not every black person has lineage connected to slaves.
That's
and
true.
Every white person doesn't have lineage connected to slaves.
Yes, that's right. So since every black person doesn't have a lineage connected to slaves, why should we generalize and say reparations for black people?
Because there are people that are in a worse place.
So over 150 years, they didn't have any ability to make better decisions, to save money, and to invest. How about you take responsibility for your own actions instead of blaming the white man?
They want us to humanize Charlie Kirk now that he's gone. But let's be real, he spent his entire life denying humanity to literally everyone else. So don't expect softness now. This man wasn't just a conservative talking head. He called the Civil Rights Act a mistake. He said Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was nothing more than a DEI hire. He smeared Dr. King, mocked black professionals, stoked fear of immigrants, and spent every breath turning white grievance into a brand. That's not political disagreement. That's a career built on stripping dignity away from entire groups of people. And here's the thing, right? The second he's gone, suddenly people want compassion. Suddenly it's about his family, his humanity, his legacy. Where was that energy when he was tearing ours down? When he was spitting on the humanity of black people, Latinos, immigrants, queer folks? We're supposed to forget the damage because the man is dead? Death doesn't erase the harm. Death doesn't clean a record. And let's not pretend that that shot was sloppy rage. It was too clean. It was too sharp. Whoever did it knew exactly what they were doing. And the irony is that Charlie worshipped that same culture of guns and violence. He fed it. He amplified it. And it came back for him. That's not karma. That's America. So no, I'm not going to rewrite his story into something soft. The only sympathy that I have is for his children, because they didn't ask for his poison. But for Charlie Kirk, he made it his life's mission to divide, belittle, and dehumanize. And that's exactly how history should remember him. Not as a victim, not as a martyr, but as the hateful man that he chose to be.
How do black people not have access to a better life in America? What's preventing them?
What's preventing black people
Yes.
from having a better life in America?
Yes. What's preventing them?
Police, the government.
Hold on. No.
universities.
Police. How many unarmed black
Donald
men
Trump.
die? How many
Donald
unarmed black men die on from the hands of police every year?
The unarmed
nationally?
black? Are you
yes.
serious?
How many?
Charlie Kirk, we're talking about something that
How
I didn't
many?
come up here to
No,
talk
you
to
just said
about.
police. How many unarmed
did.
black men die at the hands of police every year?
Did I say that is the reason
You
why
just
we're
said
prohibited?
police.
Policing is an issue.
How? No, you're right.
police
We
is
don't have
militarized.
enough police
The
on
normal
the streets of
the
black
normal
neighborhoods.
Police department is way more funded than our normal
What
libraries.
is the number one cause of black death in Chicago?
Are you serious?
Other blacks killing blacks.
Are y'all saying other blacks?
Yes.
Other blacks?
Who's killing the blacks from Chicago? A bunch of kids from Highland Park?
Black, 22% Hispanic. That's very, very, very broad. Where are those locations at?
Where
are those locations at?
East. No.
You're saying East Garfield? You've never been to East Garfield in your life.
Yes, I went once and I'll never return.
I ain't celebrate Charlie Kirk death, but I get it. The same people that laughed and made memes about George Floyd want you to lose sleep over Charlie Kirk. And for us, George Floyd wasn't even representative of all of us, but in their minds, he was. They call us didn't do nothings, implying that when we get arrested, it's cause it's always justified. That man claimed that we was better off slaves because when we were, there was less crime. And those people cheered. 400 years of suffering, death, inhumanity was better than you being free because he's afraid of people who look like you. He said Call of Duty events at schools were necessary casualties for freedom. Them people cheering for his demise ain't all crazy. You crazy for thinking the second somebody expire, they supposed to forget something you never knew. I guarantee you the people making those how could they posts didn't know that he said those things. And that's cool. Your reaction is still cool. Just stop crying about everybody else's reaction, bro. I'm not celebrating him getting packed up. But I'm not about to sit here and act like people haven't celebrating other people getting packed up all the time. Some of the same people complaining about this. When they got Saddam out of there, Osama, y'all ain't celebrate? You wasn't happy? They had families? Just chill out and let the moment pass, bro. That's it. But don't waste your indignance on people who probably gonna cheer when Obama gone.
Why is everyone letting us know that they're not celebrating the death of a white supremacist? It's a way of appeasing to white supremacy. Strategic pacifism. Bitch, I'm celebrating. This is living under the veil of the oppressor, where their existence is the dominant status symbol of wealth and importance, where our proximity to whiteness, the very colonizers that oppress us, is what gives us our value under their capitalist rule. When they get harmed, we feel more for them than when our own people are hurt by the violence that they uphold, which is why I'm seeing videos of people saying, I'm not celebrating it. You know Charlie Kirk's name? Now name a Palestinian. Name a black American that has been harmed by the very violence that he was upholding other than George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin. Name a Yemeni, name a Congolese, name a Sudanese person, name somebody in your community that's been hurt by the same violence that he's upholding. Name somebody. So you can stop letting us know that you're not celebrating the death of a white supremacist and start letting us know how you're building, working, and fighting for our collective liberation.
Charlie Kirk's approach was designed to provoke, He sought to win debates by humiliating people, not by seeking truth, And the problem with that radicalism is that it doesn't just spark debate, It stirs up bitterness in people who already carry generations of pain, trauma, and anger. When you constantly speak in ways that dehumanize communities, you're not just debating, you are digging into wounds that are already raw, playing with people's emotions. And those emotions can turn dangerous, You won't be surprised that the person who killed him could have debated him at some point, or even could have been sent by someone who was humiliated in a debate with him.
Once again, I am less than enthused at Black Christians and their behavior towards Charlie Kirk. I've had to follow so many people that I know from my past on Instagram because of the stories that they've put up, sending their condolences to this racist man who has spread disgusting, hateful rhetorics throughout his 31 hard-looking years. The fact you put religion before your own identity as a minority, even when I'm seeing Black women saying RIP to this man, I don't care if that makes me a better person. Oh, you can't wish death on some... He said I can't. The world is going to crap. People have no empathy. I cry all the time at people's pain. What I'm not going to do is say that I'm sad for a man who spread real hate that has real consequences. I'm not gonna... you guys don't stand for anything. And Black Christians, I am
just disgusted. And I'm not surprised. A lot of you align with the beliefs. So as long as the person is Christian, they can say racist things, they can say transphobic things, they can say homophobic things, they can say anti-immigration things, anti-Islam, they can say whatever they want. But because they said that they say the Lord Jesus is Lord, you lot are saying he was a man of God. You're deceived.
Charlie Kirk once said that it's worth it to have gun deaths every year if it means that we get to keep the Second Amendment. And today, the irony is that he died by gunfire. The Second Amendment was never about freedom. It was created so that slave owners could arm militias to crush rebellions. And while white folks were guaranteed guns, black people were denied that right for centuries. So when he called our deaths rational, he was just echoing America's original design, that black life is expendable. The receipts about all of this are in Black AF History, the unwhitewashed history of America. I recommend this book to everyone so that you can unlearn the lies and learn the truth about this country. If you see the orange card down below, that means that this is still on sale and still in stock.
Charlie Kirk was a man of God. Charlie Kirk was a man of God. Baby, I don't know what God y'all serve, but my God doesn't preach hate. Turning his death into this war on Christianity is like actually insane. The man was hateful. He was hateful. And that's it.
And to my people, to my black people, this is not our fight. Stay out of it. It's not our fight. They said violence had no place in politics. They weren't saying that during the civil rights, back when they was assassinating us then. It didn't apply then. Let it fly now. It's not our fight. Let the white people handle it.
Yo, I just saw that Charlie Kirk video, and that shit is not okay, bro. I am not with murdering people for their opinion, bro. What are we doing?
Anybody, especially black people, that are saying Charlie Kirk was racist and was not for black people and did not know black people, I am 100% convinced that you have never sat through a full debate of his or watched any of his debates with a sound understanding. Black people are always so quick to want to be the victim of a situation that they can't thrive. And this is one of the things that Charlie Kirk was exposing to black people. We have such a cap on us because we think we're limited because we're black or because we're women and because we think our ancestors, whatever they went through, is still impacting us today. But we are not there anymore. Charlie Kirk wasn't saying that we didn't need or black problems didn't matter. He was saying, hey, you're not a slave anymore and there are no more laws that are holding you back, saying that you can't do what a white person can do. You should get up and go and try these methods and become somebody. One thing we got to understand is life is hard. And we don't need handouts. Handouts is making people weak and sensitive. That's why this man was just killed over mere opinions. Having an opinion. This man never said nothing racist or hated or hateful towards black people. I followed this man very closely and watched many of his debates, and I stand in agreement with a lot of the things that he say. And I really, if I disagree with anything, it was so small I can't even think about nothing I disagree with. And I just hate that we are a people who are so quick to be controlled by the word racism that just one little clip misrepresenting what somebody said is all we need to throw somebody under the bus. We got to think about this. Who are the kind of people, and not to, this was a white on white crime. And whenever these type of people get involved, that means there is some power being seeped out somewhere to the masses that the people in control don't want the power to be with. And this is what he was doing. He was showing a lot of people that are blind and programmed by the system to wake up and get out the matrix. And this was the problem. Telling black people you don't need government assistance because you can be somebody is not racist. Telling us that government assistance has hindered us because before we were on government assistance, we were a more successful people is not racist by reading and understanding the facts. Ever since we started getting subsidized by the government, we have been controlled by the government, and not in only what we can do, but how we think. And this is a person who challenges you to think for yourself. The things he said about George Floyd, y'all act like because an officer killed George Floyd, that made him a saint, like he wasn't a criminal, like he wasn't on drugs. That's what caused him to be suffocated and pass out. Y'all like he wasn't resisting, like he was just being a good law-abiding citizen and was just taken out senselessly like we do each other. that wasn't the case. So when they're pointing out this stuff, y'all don't like nobody telling y'all the truth. Black people don't want to hear the truth because we benefit off of not working and being lazy off of government assistance and stuff. One thing Charlie Kirk also said was if the black people want to become better, we're going to have to stop celebrating crime and murder. Our culture is destruction. Our culture is destruction. And it ain't nothing we can do or say to change that. Everything we have from the women in our idolization groups, Beyonce, Summer Walker, SZA, Cardi B, Sexy Red, all of them are horrible examples of how to be as a woman. The same thing with the NBA young boy, Lil Baby, Duh Baby, Lil Wayne, Baby, P. Diddy. All of those are examples of how to be a terrible person. And what he is saying is get these examples from in front of you and your kids so that y'all can thrive.
So, why are black people not mourning Charlie Kirk? Because for years, he positioned himself as an enemy to their dignity, to their humanity, and to their fight for equality. So his legacy, in their eyes, is a legacy of hate, you know? And this tragedy, it highlights something powerful, that the tongue may be small, but it carries the weight of life and death. Words can build, but they can also destroy. His death is a warning to all of us that when you choose a career built on provocation and division, you cannot control how people will respond. Words have consequences, you know, and sometimes deadly ones. And yet the lesson here is not that hate should be met with hate, you know. The lesson is that we must rise above. Violence does not defeat ideas, you know. Bullets cannot silence ideologies. We must fight dangerous ideas with stronger, more liberating ones, you know. We must prove that while Charlie Kirk's words may have divided, our words can heal, they can unite, and they can inspire a deeper future. Because at the end of the day, you don't defeat hate with bullets. You defeat hate with the truth, all right? May his soul rest in peace. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.